Hello.
Hello.
Oh,
Chelsea, you're muted.
I couldn't think of an opening bit because Ken said coming back to wagon wheels, and I was just like...
During the intro, Chelsea was holding up a wagon wheel that she was eating, and like...
Okay. There was some missing context, because I was sitting there going...
I didn't know if she was going to put it away, or just like keep munching on it on stream, so I'm like, alright, we're coming back to wagon wheels, let's fucking do this.
I thought like we were gonna have another moment where I could like take a bite of my wagon wheel, munch it a little bit and then put it down.
No, you don't get
that. But we did kind of start with me chewing on a wagon wheel.
Yeah.
You're in the chew zone. It's a dangerous place to be.
Yeah, but I mean, they're half off.
Not sponsored by Wagon. Whatever. Miss.
So it's a Joe Louis.
Little Debbie. Joss Lewis.
Joe Louis, they're like a wagon wheel, but like cut down the middle and sold.
Oh my god, what are those, like the puff things?
I love that Joe Louis are like the one flawless, like Little Debbie product that doesn't exist, that's only available in Canada from a separate company. Like every other product is flawed. Twinkies, they're a bit too Nilla. Snowballs, the coconut, I don't know. Wagon wheels, it's a lot sometimes, but a Joe Louis has like the fluffiness and everything. It's like perfect, and it's apparently a Canadian thing.
I loved them as a kid, but also at the same time really fucking hated them.
Really?
Like, I don't know what it was. Like, my mom would buy a pack, and she would give them to me for my lunch in like elementary school, and I'd be like, oh yeah, Joe Louis, and I would take a bite and just be like, oh yeah, Joe Louis.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's what this tastes like.
I don't know why I associate them with grandmas.
They do have some grandma energy.
They definitely have grandma energy.
I also like the fact that like they must have gotten enough comments about the size of them that they started releasing them like pre-halved. They were like, okay, enough people only want half a Joe Louis. We should deal with this.
In fairness, they were pretty big. They were like the size of a burger patty.
This stream is not sponsored by Joe Louis.
I don't know what a Joe Louis is!
It's not sponsored by Wendy's.
Is it just an Ontario thing then, I guess?
Is it?
I don't know what a Joe Louis is.
Gabe has never heard of a Joe Louis, so you know.
And if I try and Google it, I have to remove all of these images that are up on my screen that I like to look at so dearly.
Okay, Googling it doesn't help.
No.
How do you spell it?
Jos Lewis.
Oh, this is just a wagon wheel.
Yeah, it's just
This one's a wagon wheel is what it is.
yeah. It's just a bigger wagon wheel that's like fluffier, and that's
It's like this size.
yeah.
Oh.
You know what's the issue with the Joe Louis? That apparently it's so just ubiquitous that if you Google it, you get how to make a Joe Louis inspired birthday cake. That's like giant. So I thought this was like the size of a pizza. And I was like, yeah, no wonder I gotta cut this bad boy in half.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That sounds about right.
It's like Fritos. They become almost more of a cooking ingredient than an actual snack.
Wait,
Yeah.
Fritos are a cooking ingredient?
What the hell are you making with Fritos?
There's stuff. There's like Frito pies and Tex-Mex stuff.
What? I've
Boil
never
them,
heard
mash
of
them,
it.
put them in a stew.
That's
I want to
potato.
bring you guys to Trash Town one day. Right to Trash Town.
Running in the trash town.
Thanks, I'm good.
It's a new.
If we're ever allowed to leave our houses.
Ever allowed to leave our Frito deprived lives.
I want to say I don't know what the sun looks like, but I can honestly say that like I never like just yes, sun.
You're actually not supposed to do that. Fun fact, you're not supposed to just go out there and go, sun.
I think as a child, somebody told me that staring at the sun made your eyes stronger. And so for a little while, I did that. Like I
You're
would
dumb
just
as
stare
shit.
at the sun.
See,
I was stupid.
I heard the exact opposite, and I remember as a child going, no.
No, not that one.
Oh no, it hurts. It hurts. It hurts. All right, it hurts.
Oh, the agony. Huh.
Yeah, no, I thought the agony was your eyes getting stronger.
Yeah.
Well, in a sense it was, but
I wonder if Gabe has any specific feelings about this.
Don't do it. Listen, I'd rather look at the sun than look at like a checkerboard computer screen.
A checkerboard.
contrast.
The contrast. It's the contrast what does me in.
Black text on white paper.
Yeah, one time when I was first learning how to do 3D games in Game Maker, which was a beautiful program that they've now ruined and turned into a shitty version of Unity. But back in the day, Game Maker was the shit. And it was for 2D games, but you could make 3D games, but it was weird how you had to do it. It was like Doom level of 3D, like...
Yeah, it's one of those things where if you were making games in 3D in Game Maker, it was your last stepping stone before just learning to program.
Yeah, absolutely. But I needed a texture to experiment with making meshes, so I chose, like an absolute idiot, a checkerboard pattern. And I spent an afternoon doing that, and then I had one of the worst migraines of my entire life, and I had to go to the ERs, so...
Oh.
Yeah.
That sounds about right. Yeah, no, that.
And then you learned that you had an eye thing.
Yeah.
One time I played the Lego Flash game Junkbot for, like, almost the entire day for, like, 3 days in a row, and then I couldn't fall asleep, and I was hallucinating Junkbot walking up a staircase, and I was like, haha, too many video games.
Oh my god. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh god.
It's mildly concerning when you're having hallucinations of things.
Wait.
So
Was Junkbot the guy that was just a pair of Lego legs attached to like a brick? I love that dude.
Yeah. And so it's like, you're sitting there doing a puzzle game that's like, it's isometric Lego blocks and they're all the exact same size, and you're just clicking them and dragging them and watching this dude go back and forth doing repetitive motions, repetitive sound. It's like, it fucks with your brain.
Yeah.
But I was like, this wasn't like I'm 13 and I can spend like 8 hours playing video games, but I have homework in class. Like, this was like, I'm 12. Yeah. I'm staying up all night to do this, and my tiny kid body can handle that nonsense.
Yeah.
So, like, I got, like, hours on hours a day. I think this was even in the summer, so, like, I didn't have school. I was just playing Junkbot.
Yeah.
Just Junkbot on Junkbot, baby. So you're sitting here, like, 24 inches maybe from a screen, just clicking and dragging Lego blocks, going Junkbot gets the thing, and also like you're a kid, you're not that great at video games, so you can't just beat it. You can play this for the like 6 years and not beat it.
Yeah.
So like, but you're still getting entertainment because you're a kid, and the way you experience games is different. So like, I'm just sitting there in bed, like, maybe I have only consumed one kind of stimulus for 3 days straight, and I need to, like, go outside and play tomorrow, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy.
That is a vibe.
Man.
By the time that, like, the Wii came out, you had those, like, remember, you should go outside sometimes. Like, I remember being like, I don't need those. I've had my lesson, thank you.
Don't worry, Wii. I've learned.
I just remember always looking at those and going like, well, yeah, obviously. This seems like a self-explanatory thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, speaking of basement dweller bullshit, let's do some tabletop. Maybe just
let's dwell some basements.
I don't know. I don't think any of us are in our basement.
Nah, in the basement is where I didn't have my interview today.
Are we all ascended nerds? Are we all above
We're all
ground?
ascended nerds.
Yeah.
Although I have just thought of what next year's Bloodwine takeover is going to be.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
If it was anything like last episode, it's going to be a whole thing.
Oh yeah. And I got a year to think about it.
Yeah.
I thought of
stew.
the wrestling one in December, and then I started like thinking it over and what to do. This one I got a year to plan.
What secrets do the Hadean Reaches hold? Seems like an appropriate line to start on after that little bit of mystery there. What messenger plunges the inky chthonic depths, and with what? Love letters, invoices, receipts? Perhaps they send letters to each other, pondering the secrets of the blinding light place above. In the blinding light, do they know no one's watching? In the drowning shadow, do they know no one's listening? Who decides which letters are lost and damaged? What fealty does the messenger hold? Perhaps the messengers are sworn to each other in allegiance to messaging, alone against the giants above, alone against the horrors below, alone on the membrane, the storm-stricken sea, the scarred wastes where the two rage, and flanked if their allegiance demands it. Alone in a war against both gods and monsters for the freedom of an imprisoned truth. Welcome to Bloodwine. Why? I don't know why it is, but I feel like I've fallen into this pattern where all of my verbose, florid intros are for relatively slow episodes, and then all the ones that are you jump into a river, you jump off a plank, things are ready to go, hopping and going. Welcome to Bloodwine. Those are the ones for the high octane sessions.
Yeah.
There's an inverse hype pattern. I don't know what it is. I feel like I gotta fall out of that somehow.
You just
Inverse
gotta,
hype pattern.
Some are more thoughtful, provoking episodes, and you gotta think about it, and that's how you get your intro. And some of them are just all right, I need to beef this up a little bit because literally all we're doing is blowing up a ship today.
Yeah.
Today is blow up a ship day.
Maybe 2 ships, maybe 3 ships.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Mysteries, things to discover,
Yeah.
fun times. So it is currently 10. You guys woke up a bit early, but you didn't have anything the next day until noonish. So you've been sitting around, and Croquill, you're on top of the nearby cabinet. You're holding a pair of wands. You're kind of wrangling them so they're at the right angle. You're pirating the ritual signal for a Smash-A-Mania game. You're watching the last event close as they announce that Shigeru Miyamoto has to accept Waluigi and Smash. The broadcast ends, and you guys all sit there going, "What? What's the plot of this?" It's Butch Brunch. One of the servers comes up to you wearing little jean cutoffs and a plaid, torn cuffed shirt. Going, "Hey, need anything else? I figure you're heading out, like you said. Bills? Dessert? Lunch?"
No joint for me, thanks. I'm full.
At this point, Croquill is hopped down from the ritual signal, and it's just did you see Steel Fist performance? That was incredible! Oh my god!
Yeah, he got knocked out.
Yes, in the best way possible. Did you hear the hype of the crowd? They were so into it.
Yeah, they were. They're pretty excited for all that gratuitous violence. I don't know. What kind of message is that saying to the kids?
You cannot tell me that the explosive barbed wire match, where everything was blowing up, didn't intrigue you slightly.
It was pretty obvious that those explosives weren't real. They were just kind of more there for show than anything.
Tiana kind of
It's kind of silly, but
Tiana shrugs and is well, none of this stuff's been real since the 380s.
What?
Anyhow, she kind of settles up and goes, "So, what do we got to do then? Job interview?"
I think we just gotta go pick up
our interview.
Yeah, we passed the interview.
We just gotta go get the outfits, I think.
Yeah, that's my understanding.
I turn to the server who's probably still there. It's just Sorry, no, nothing. Just the bills.
At this point, like, enough has happened as you guys were talking about the Smashamania that Tiana was able to, like, bill snipe and settle it up quickly. You're past a couple of mints.
Do you have, like, a thing for the salad? I was kind of busy while we were doing that. I didn't get an opportunity to eat.
Oh, I am so sorry. Right, and you hear a plate clang back down after just barely being picked up off the table. Sorry, I should ask, anybody else boxes?
No thanks.
Okay, bro. He kind of winks and heads off into the other room.
Yeah, so...
A little while later, he comes back with a little box.
Oh, thank you. I just kind of, like, feel the edge of the box and, like, feel the edge of the plate and just kind of, like... And whatever's in there is in there.
You guys watch, like, satisfying gift style as, like, Crowquill kind of sits there, touches the edge of this, like, box, touches the edge of the other box, grabs this one, winces, and then goes as the entire salad just falls into the box. There's, like, a little shred of carrot, there's a little bit of lime, a tiny slice of beet, and that's it. It almost perfectly encapsulates in the box.
I put the plate down and just go, thank you. Close the box.
It's pretty cool.
The server just kind of blinks and is like, takes the plate.
Some boxing skills you got there.
It'd be my first time.
What?
Well, you know, I've definitely had experience with this, you know.
You've had a tuss,
Yeah.
a fight.
Had to help steal
had a-
this once when I was 10.
You've bought stuff from diners before.
Yeah.
This
Like,
is not my
we
first
going to get
time
our
at
wardrobe? Like,
diner.
immediately, like, changing the thing. So, are we getting our wardrobe?
Yeah, that outfit thing.
Yep.
Been meaning to get new robes.
Well, I don't know if... I just don't know... How do I put this? Do we have to wear them? Is it like a uniform, or is it kind of more of a option?
The door clangs behind you guys as you continue your conversation. You're heading down the side of the fisheries, going, do I have to wear them? There's a bit of a sea breeze as you're saying that. You open up the shirt a little bit and get a little bit of tickly saltiness up in the pits, and you're like, ah, yeah.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about too. Like,
It's good. It's nasty, but it's good.
I know the feeling you're talking about.
If you people that live near water, back in Saskatchewan, we don't have that sort of stuff.
You don't have water. It's just
you don't have
flat
water.
land.
It's just flat. You go in
Far as the eye
Saskatchewan,
can see, it's just flat land.
you pour yourself a nice glass of lemonade in Saskatchewan, you can hear the atmosphere slurping it up through the straw.
Meanwhile, I'm sitting here in Ontario like, how many watercraft can you pilot?
Yeah!
Well, I only
You
have
don't know how
one
good you
boat
have.
license. Actually, I think do boat licenses expire in Canada? The generic boat license?
I don't know. I never got one. The best we ever had access to was like very briefly it was kept at someone else's cottage kind of thing. So it was ours, but we couldn't access it. It was canoe with like just exactly below like the cutoff at the time for like motor capacity. So it was like this shitty little putter boat. It was nice. I can stern. I can whatever not sterning is. You're just paddling straight, so I can paddle.
Mm-hmm.
Do a bit of sailing.
There was a point where I was going to teach rowing when I was a kid, when I was going to volunteer for like a youth program, and so I needed a motor boat license because we use those.
Because it's for lifeguarding usually, right?
No, it's not lifeguarding. It's literally we follow behind them and shout at them in a boat.
Oh, nice.
And sometimes we're assholes. and we just rev it and go past another boat because rowboats are very, very close to the water, and so they just get swamped.
Oh yeah.
That's so mean.
Yeah.
No, that sounds about on par for like camp.
Yeah, that's
counseling.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you guys finally make your way up to the general rookery. Your ship's parked a little way back. You can see there's actually a couple of other people standing outside, kind of looking confused, waiting for the next hour to come. You guys are in a town, so like there's side streets and little other alleys, but after looking nearby, there's like a clock hanging over the rookery. You're actually specifically like 50 minutes or so early, not fully an hour, enough that you kind of got a putter.
Hey,
Jane, where's there a like chair around here or something, like a barrel for me to just sit on or something?
You grope around a little bit, you find a nice sturdy feeling barrel, and you sit.
And
hey, that's my barrel!
I take out my salad and just go, don't care.
What kind of box is that salad in? Is it a paper box or is it a plastic box or?
Have they invented plastic yet?
Or is it a wood box?
It's like a pressed paper box. You can see it's made using like East Landing style stuff where like they fold it in and then use like a small amount of glue to make like structural boxes out of a small amount of paper.
Okay.
This is stuff that you don't really see out west that much.
Cool.
Neat engineering.
Yeah.
But I don't really
What
care
about
that. I'm eating a salad.
what about Jane and Son?
Find
Well,
somewhere a nice patch of grass to sit in and pick at the grass. Try to find a clover that has 4 leaves on it.
Do the duck call with a piece of grass.
Yeah. You kind of fail at it and just get the piece of grass all wet, and then you have to like another one.
I could never do that. Never.
Nope.
It took me ages to do the loon one, and I've already forgotten.
I'm pretty good at the grass one. I've never been able to do the loon one.
I've never been able to do either.
What about Son? How are you keeping yourself busy?
Son is probably like he's a pretty relaxed guy. He's probably just kind of
Don't die.
standing around. You good?
Yep. Wrong tube.
That
Wrong
Guinness is
too.
thick.
Son is probably just standing around, admiring everybody else's weapons and mentally judging the bad ones. You know, like, oh yeah.
Or like out loud judging the bad ones.
Yeah, you know, he'll go up and he'll nudge.
You know that
Nudge.
pea's gonna break in like a month or two, right?
Yeah, he nudges Crowquill and he's like, man, you can't tell from here, but man, that guy needs to oil his revolver every once in a while.
So you can see that there's like a couple of recruits as far as you can tell, and then you look at yourselves, you realize you're also recruits. Sorry, but
Crowquill's like, yeah, no,
it went up my nose a bit.
Crowquill's like, yeah, no, I can't tell.
Crowquill turns to Sun and is just like, and when's the last time you've oiled your revolver?
This morning.
How often do you need to oil a revolver?
I mean, ideally every time after you fire it, but I like to make sure it's still in good shape, even if we haven't seen combat.
Crowquill at this point is just like, didn't get it. I'm gonna move on, but I really want to laugh at him.
All right, I'm back. What did I miss?
Sun apparently oils his revolver every time he fires it off.
More often, even.
Yeah.
Yeah, just make sure.
Fires it off.
Just make sure it's in good shape, you know.
It's interesting that he fires it off
Am I-
after he oils
Am
it.
I expected to laugh at that? That seems like proper maintenance. Like,
That's what I'm saying.
You don't just sit and leave a firearm full of crud.
Yeah.
No, you gotta fire it off sometimes.
All right, so
Penis.
you take you take some time to look around the crowd. There's a couple of other recruits sitting around. They seem to be like from different walks of life. There's some fightery looking types, some scribey types, more rangery types. Definitely around here, though, all of them have some kind of sailor flavor to them. Eventually, after puttering around long enough, the time comes and the door opens. There's a rooker with like the mask and the robes and everything who invites you all in.
Oh boy. I'm getting in there.
All right, you all kind of like crowd in really close, like pre-COVID, accidentally bumping into people close. You're all in front of the rooker's desk, and the person there, like motions for you guys to not come back next, and like starts going, all right, in an orderly, reasonable fashion. One by one, come up and whisper me to your names. If you are who you say you are, we'll let you through.
Okay. I go first, I guess.
All right, you take a bit of initiative. There's someone who like does so at the same time, but they kind of like stop, hesitate, sidestep, and come in right behind you. You make your way up. What do you whisper?
Jane Doe.
Is that magically or legally accurate?
That is
Or
the
both?
name that I go by everywhere. So
So if you were to pick up your mail, you would pick it up for Jane Doe.
yeah.
All right, you are allowed through. The person behind you goes through. Does somebody want to roll understand
Sure.
or politics and tell me which one?
I'll roll understand. Let me just move all these sheets from the character sheet here so I can actually see what my understand is. God, this is like the only character I never took atypical for.
This is my first atypical character.
Atypical is the best.
It's a nice bit of flavor. It's a nice way to be like, okay, sometimes I'm going to nail this. Most of the time, it's going to be garbage.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a 17.
17. With the note about, like, giving your names in a whisper and then being let through, one person near the back of the group quietly slips away and leaves the interview.
Doesn't want to give his name. Okay. I mean,
All
I
right.
don't think I would recognize the person. I just noticed someone slipping away.
Maybe he has an embarrassing name, like Quagmire.
Or bog fart.
Oh, that's pretty embarrassing.
A couple more people move ahead, including Bilgy and Rooker. They start getting in line, they mumble names and are let through.
I'll get in line.
All right. What name do you give?
Croakbill Ravenfeather.
You're let through. Tiana and Kenyon Yi go through in front.
Yeah, I'll go up. Son.
Is that accurate?
Well,
Odds or evens?
I lean in, but I don't lower my voice any. I think I'm whispering, but I say, Blazing Sun.
Roll ritual as son.
Okay. That's a 1.
1. 1 is enough because it's not a 0 or a negative. Your name isn't like for ritual and magical purposes, which is what the check is for. Your name isn't Sun and it's not Blazing Sun. In an I can't hear you way, your true name is louder than that. The spell fizzles and the guy gives you a bit of a weird look.
Did he let me through?
He looks confused. He doesn't let you through. He goes, Sorry, there's some problems with your name.
Oh.
Did you tell me your name again?
Yeah, it's Blazing Sun.
The spell kind of like sputters a little bit. The guy looks confused with a knowing look, like he's sure that you think you're giving the right name too. It's just that it's not going off right.
Can I like see what's going on with it? Like, can I figure out what's going on?
Yeah, you're in the next room past an open door. You're all kind of gathering as people go through before the next phase.
Let me try this again. Blazing Sun of Kanye and Son.
As you say that, like the spell where like there was a fizzle before, there isn't normally an effect for everyone. You just quietly go through an invisible ritual. There's a little spark of flame and a puff of smoke. And you're able to go through. The mage looks about as surprised as you do.
Whispering stupid anyway.
A few people come in behind you, and that's the last of them. You guys are all gathered in the warehouse. Currently, though, like there's a few chairs and tables. Like they motion, like, okay, give us a second. We just have to do some last bits of paperwork. They talk to a couple people. They come up to you guys and they go, hey, for your ship, anybody who you want representing you, we just need to ask some repairs questions.
Repairs questions.
Bilgy represents us?
Yeah, I'm looking at Bilgy for that one.
Bilgy shrugs and walks away from the crew.
He's the captain.
He is the captain.
I'm gonna turn to Sun and just go, maybe the device doesn't like demon touched.
That seems a little prejudiced, but I suppose I can't blame him.
I mean, you're the only demon touched on the crew, and it went off, and like, it's clearly not a like, it didn't affect a dark touch, so maybe it's specific to you.
That's not a comforting thought.
Croakwill, roll ritual.
Okay.
Like, if this happens and you can quickly, like, you have a close friend who you can try to sense the name of, is that something you'd be able to do? What'd you say?
I rolled a 22, and if I'm talking about, like, a close friend, it would probably be Steel Fist.
Oh, no, I meant, like, is Sun a close enough friend that, like, you would maybe have some magical insight about names?
I don't think so. I don't think I would have any insight into Sun's real name, because ours is like, it's a coworker thing. Like, it's very much like, we talk at the water cooler, and that's pretty much it. He works in a different department than me. I don't even know what the fuck he does all day.
So yeah, like really, really close people, you might have a sense of their true names for magical purposes, but like for like Sun in particular, like the best you sense is that his true name, like literally, like the only thing you sense is a bit of like explosive poof and shebang kind of thing.
Well, if ever I want to generate an explosion, I know I just need to use your name now.
You give me a call. I can get an explosive for you all set up.
What would the similar dynamic be between Croakwill and Jane?
I feel like Croakwill is closer to Jane, just because she has a tendency to rely on Jane for like traveling. Like if we're traveling through a town, she has a tendency to rely on Jane way more than Sun.
Oh yeah.
Like in the tiers, it kind of would be like Tiana, Jane, and then all the way at the very bottom would be Sun. Sun would be the last person.
You have a much stronger sense of your other allies' names. Like Jane's has something like you sense a force forward and a propulsion and the pulling of wind and gravity. But like Sun's, you just have spark and fire, and that's all you can get.
Maybe it's a demon touch thing.
Maybe.
I don't know. I'm kind of demon touched. Worked for me.
I thought you were just a normal human.
I am. I'm talking about like how I'm like from like a super racist background?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
No, not that kind of demon. Not that kind of demon.
I don't want to. I don't want to. Tell you that your experiences aren't valid, but I don't know if you can appreciate the sort of cultural depths of the racism within that particular celestial culture.
I'm just making a joke, son.
Okay.
There's an awkward quiet, and then a couple of people enter the room and mercifully puncture it. As far as you can see, there's two people. One of them is short. You can see underneath like the hood, there's the outlines of like mousefolk ears, and in like a bandolier, there's a bunch of little quills. The other rooker is a draconian, and you can see around, like with the robes and mask and everything, around the neck there's like this rope. It doesn't look like a noose necessarily. It looks more like with sailor's rope, like something was fashioned to be hung to this person's neck and it wasn't removed. At the bottom you can see it's fashioned to have a couple of little like seagull quills in it.
Huh.
Sorry, it's just very anime in my mind. I'm imagining a fight scene where they're throwing quills at their enemy.
So both of them, now that everyone's got a bit of attention, they go, welcome, welcome. You can hear a bit of talking. The first one starts piping up, goes, so, all of you are here because you've made it past a certain phase of early employment, and you've made it to a point where you've earned your robes. So we're just going to go through some basic trainings. This isn't a test. It's just stuff that we got to make sure you know before you move forward. So if you fail, we just go through it again. Does that sound fair?
That makes sense to me.
There's a similar grumbling through the crowd. At this point, like, Rooker Ironquill goes, okay. So, and is about to say something, and then in the back, the other Rooker goes, we are peddlers of information, traders, but not buyers and sellers, no, providers, bringing the grain to the mill. Yes. And the other Rooker, like, goes, okay. Anyhow, we have a couple of pieces of training to go through. We got to go through birds, letters, seals, and hex codes. So we need to split into groups. They start counting off. Okay, groups of 3. With the 7, that makes your party. And the rest of the people here, it's like 12. So it's going to be in 4 different groups. Are we doing letters, seals, hex codes, or birds?
Birds.
Yeah, she really likes birds.
I have like warbles on my shoulder. Birds.
Yeah, you're first in the birds group.
I'll go with Crowquill, I guess.
All right.
Yeah, I'll tag along with Crowquill.
All right, the 3 of you form a 3-person group and quickly are led away with... you and the seal group are led away by the Rooker with like the rope thing. You go into a different room. You're sat on like either sides. You're given just kind of a wave being like, take a minute. Let them get used to you just being here. I'll be back in a second. And the Rooker starts teaching the other group a little bit.
I immediately ask as many birds to come down as can be supported on my arms.
They're all still in cages, but they're like sitting near the edge, near where all like the wire is, giving you kind of a look. You can see, however, that in each cage there's 3 crows and 1 like homing pigeon.
I immediately approach the crows.
Orville seems intrigued as well, and like squawks a little bit at you, does a flutter, and then flutters back and goes back on your shoulder. The crows seem not hostile, but curious. The pigeon is kind of staying near the back, not in a hostile, fearful way, more just kind of like the crows are making a kerfuffle and there's a space where there's less kerfuff.
Yeah. I'm gonna take a little bit of Warble's feed out of my pocket, and sort of like open the cage and just be like, "Yo, feed."
Hey, Crow. I mean, maybe they're on some sort of diet, Crowquill. I don't know.
Hey, this diet works for Warbles just fine.
Okay, I mean, you
point,
know your birds.
At this point, the mariner like comes up quickly and like goes, whoa, wait, hey, and stops you before you open it, just barely, and goes, "Sorry, that's the first part of the lesson. Your own bird will have to be on a separate diet, probably the same seed, but we'll get into that. All right, so," and he starts gesturing. Birds are, and you can see the guy for a brief moment get like transcendenced back into a horrific moment and kind of snap back and go, "Birds are our friends and deserve our respect and our love, and they're very particular. Now, here," and he gestures and he goes, "we have a system here at the rookery. You have homing pigeons, our core species, and we train the crows to be their defenders. Now," and he gestures to the group, he goes, "is anyone familiar with homing pigeons and how they work?"
I raise my hand.
He goes, "Yes."
Oh, they're a bird, and when you send them out, it comes back to you.
"Yes. Well, you see," and he starts blathering on. He goes into an unnecessary level of detail that you're probably going to forget, so you have a moment to yourselves to kind of talk to each other.
Is it just me, or does this guy's level of detail seem like a little more than we need?
Yeah, I mean, who cares about the homing pigeon?
Well, Crowquill, I thought you loved birds.
I love crows, and ravens, and owls.
Uh-huh.
Pretty much everything but pigeons, actually.
Oh, what do you go against pigeons? They seem nice enough.
Point being, and the guy doesn't seem to have noticed that you were talking. He goes, "Fundamentally, I should summarize. The homing pigeons, normally if you take them somewhere, they go back to home. But we also have them so if you keep their food in one place and their home elsewhere, they'll make 2 trips a day. And the 2 trips a day is the fundamental inland route. Usually you use homing pigeons for the direct messaging method. Anyhow, the crows are trained to be their guardians and decoys, because they're smart birds, as I'm sure you understand." He points at Warbles.
Yep. Smartest ever. I give him a little scratch.
You give him a little scratch, and then he starts picking apart the seam on the edge of your shirt.
I'm like, Warbles, we talked about that. Don't do that. I take out the little shiny bit that Sun gave me, and just like, yeah.
It's enough, and Warbles kind of like sits near your hand.
The smartest.
At this point, he goes off, gives the other group a bit of an interaction, and comes back, and he starts teaching you just kind of some basics of interacting with birds. Do all of you want to roll a skill and tell me what it is?
Sure.
You can guess what I'm gonna roll.
I'll go specifically towards interacting with birds. Okay.
24 for bird.
I am rolling barter to try and exchange. Be like, "Hey, bird, if you come here, there'll be good things." Huh? Just a little social contract, bird, between me and you. You listen to me, I give you love. And that is a 7 for barter. With a bird.
Hey, bird, if you come here, I won't blow you up.
Well, and I didn't want to be blunt, but
why blunt when you can have explosive?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I got a 20 for delicate.
All right, so immediately, the guy starts teaching, and he goes, "All right, so let's go one by one. Crowquill, you seemed eager. Why don't you approach the birds slowly and gently, such as to let them trust?" And all the birds walk into a neat row, ordered by height. You then extend a hand, and they go hep 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 hep, and then like a wave, they put up their legs like dun 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 dun, and then all fly back into the cage, and then invert order, and then give a peck, and then look at the instructor, and he goes, "Yeah, you can take 15. You're good."
And they start doing the can.
Can I give them a scratch? They were good. I especially like the middle one. He was really nice.
So there's like the next student goes up and like immediately goes to give the pigeon a scratch. The pigeon backs off a little, and all three of the crows like they like flutter into the guy's face. He's like, ah! And the guy goes, okay, gentle, like and at this point, like Jane, you're nearby and you're just being delicate. Like while the crows are attacking, you just kind of like quietly raise up a hand, and the pigeon kind of walks close, bumps it a little, and then does a little foop up and raises a foot.
Cool.
He gives you a nod and then just kind of like waves you past. It takes a bit more time with the previous student.
Happiness at Jane being like, yeah, bird peeps. We talk bird.
There's one hotshot student who must have trained birds in the past who just like gives like a quick whistle and they go like that. It isn't magic, it's just training. Same thing, gives a quick wave past, and then it comes to Sun. You sit there, you give them a look. You move your hand forward and they stop, they hesitate, you get too close and they leave. And you back up, but only halfway. And then they slowly approach. You give a little more. They leave, you back up a little. And they come forward, and then one of them begrudgingly kind of flutters up to your hand and sticks out a foot.
Thank you. Was that so hard?
The moment that you start talking, the bird flutters back, and then you got a little pat, and the guy goes, You'll understand in due time.
Birds.
You're back in the middle, and the other groups have all gathered together. You still have letters, seals, and rookery hex codes.
Rookery hex codes where all your dreams come true.
Seals.
Oh, I thought I made it clear that I wanted to do hex codes.
Croquill is very interested in hex. Yeah, Croquill is very interested in hex codes because she hears the word hex. And thinks it's more stuff that she can impress people with.
So you come up and you're like, hexes? Right as you see Sun, Kennedy, and Tiana all doing the same dance going, rookery hex codes. And then Bilgy kind of gives you a tap and goes, it's not a magic thing.
It's not? But it has hex.
Nah.
It's math.
Oh,
This is a matter of pure logistics.
That's disgusting. Why would you want to do that?
Well, there's a certain art to making sure that everything is neat and organized, and what better thing to do than to do that with people and locations?
Not to mention, I mean, hexadecimal in particular means that you manage to save engraving space if you're using limited space, you know?
I mean, that's true.
And then Tiana's just there and goes, I just think number systems are neat.
Yeah.
You're ushered off with the other rooker whose lesson is far less like, hello, friends. Quickly, so, Croquill, where do you go instead?
Guess I'll go with seals instead. Then.
So you linger around and stay with Jane. Sun, what skill do you want to roll for this?
I would like to roll. I mean, to understand hex seals, I feel like that would be a mental science roll. Like,
give it.
That is a 5. Yowza.
So you can't break from like the conversion to like gun gauges, which is what you're used to. So You're trying to get used to it. As far as you get jotted down, there's like a section to do with like which rooker you are, where the letter comes from, and where it's heading. But it's one of those things where like you leave that lesson with a piece of paper that converts them and quietly just slide it in your pocket, going, "I'm sure I'll remember one day."
Yeah, not my proudest moment.
The other two of you guys, you are in the seals lesson, which is in the same room, just kind of like, or no, seals was with birds, right?
Sure.
I think it was. So you guys are in a different room from Sun and the rest. You guys are with Bilgy going over the actual rookery seals. They give you a quick explanation saying like there's just a general purpose rookery seal that's used for one side, but like nobles, merchants, and crafters or other people who might need it will just be able to bring their own and seal it. Your job is to take a half sealed envelope and then like basically prep and press the other seal, and then as this like lesson is completed, you're each given your own rookery seals. By the time all of you are done, Jane and Croakwill, you don't need to roll. This is basically just like this is the one that gets done in like 5 minutes, and you're just sitting there with your thumb up your ass. All of you guys are sitting kind of in the middle of the general rookery bay, away from where customers are, like in the employee section, like waiting while the other tradings are going on. I'm going to run off for a sec.
Me too.
Everyone just runs off. God, I guess this is... Since we're done so quickly, you know, everyone else just kind of goes and takes like a bathroom break while we just sit around going, "Yep."
E-boy Gabe.
E-boy Gabe. I made birds do a can.
You made birds do the can. True. My mental science isn't super great. No. I feel like Jane was probably educated.
Yeah. But I also background. Feel like Jane rejected the education just a little bit.
Yeah. Jane was probably a problem child.
Yeah.
You know, like failed her math tests and was like, I don't need math. Who needs math?
Wasn't taught anything beyond basic math to like add up coin. And that's basically all she ever got.
Yeah.
So I'm fully expecting to like go to that section and just be like, question, how am I supposed to do this when I can't see?
I'm back.
We're both back.
Oh?
I don't know if you guys can hear the guitar in the background, but
nope.
I can't. Does it slap?
It slaps.
Shame I can't hear it then.
Yeah. It's my dad. He's playing his guitar.
Is he playing the guitar on the MTV?
Can I request?
Because I hear that's the way to do it.
Playing the guitar on the MTV.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm afraid I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
I swear, if you tell that joke to your dad, he'll laugh.
All right, I'll hold you to that.
Like, just peek into the room and then just point at him and go, "That's the way you do it. You play the guitar on the MTV and leave."
No, he's going to go do it. God damn it.
Well, now I gotta know. I want to know the results. It's a good reference.
What is it a reference to?
It's a reference to "Money for Nothing" by Dire Straits.
Okay.
It's a good song.
Okay. I know the song.
You haven't heard it?
He got it. He wasn't laughing, but he got it.
You personally seem disappointed in that.
A little bit.
You wanted to come in and just be like, "No, you're wrong, Will. Your references are outdated."
Well,
at least I'm dad tier. I'm glad if I'm dad tier.
Yeah.
So what's next? There's still letters to be taken care of, and then I'll just take care of anything superfluous later. Who's going to letters?
I'll go to letters.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to do hexcraft.
All right, so that's Sun and Croakwill for letters. Who else is letters? All right, 3 of you reunite for the letters lesson. Here you're given just kind of a quick rundown of like, hey, So this is the standard procedure. The way you got to do it is they come in, they tell you they want to write a letter. As long as you're wearing the robes, you're supposed to accept it, and they kind of just give you like very welcome to Burger King, kind of like this is the way that you go through the interaction step by step.
Sure.
You guys kind of shrug through it, and then by the end of the last kind of section of training, you do the modules that you've all personally been avoiding, and kind of exhausted, you come back out of it at around like 2. They give you an hour for like a break.
Oh, okay. Well,
do I have any of the salad left from earlier?
You have a little bit. It's a little sticky to the side of the container, but like, it's fine.
Crowquill's takes out the box and is doing the like scraping the side of the edge for literally anything. Just like, Hexcraft sucks.
Well, I mean, it's
like
it's easier the way they do it in the Imperial system.
I had to learn Braille in order to do it. Do you know how annoying it is to have to do numbers, learning Braille, and then learning the numbers, and then learning hexadecimal on top of that?
I still think the Imperial system's pretty bad, but no, that sounds worse.
What do you guys do to kill time in the town?
walk around, see what's in the shops.
See what's shaking.
You kind of stroll up and down town. There's a warehouse district, which is where the rookery is, but you have enough time to leave it. You walk past the bent anchor, which is like right where your ship is, and you can see that some construction's being done on it by like like rookers with the rookery like outfit and everything. Otto seems to be looking at it and then kind of like looks at you and gives you a bit of a shrug and then looks back at them. Further along, you can see that there's like a couple seafood shops. There's a lot of like bait and tackle shops. There's a shipwright that's nearby. And you can see a bunch of like modifications and like sail colors being advertised. Further back in the town is like, stuff that locals would probably be looking for, like a grocer, tailor, general goods, that kind of thing. You finish puttering and make your way back into the training for the next kind of session.
All right, well, what fresh hell do you think they prepared for us this time around?
You can see that the one guy, Iron Quill, is still there, but a different rooker is there. One that seems to be like missing an arm and has like a steel claw in place.
So we got Iron Quill and Iron Claw. Got it.
Didn't realize this job was so dangerous.
Do you say after like being in gun battle?
Well,
in fairness, the most like intense parts that we've had in the rookery, as like specifically involving the rookery, was probably our training session.
Yeah.
Like everything else has been us specifically going out and seeking that stupidity.
I mean, there's truth to be found there.
On our vacation, we blew up like 6 Imperial ships.
We did.
Good vacation.
Yeah, it was for a good cause.
Yeah.
So, one-handed with the non-clawed hand, one of the instructors is using like one-handed sign language with the occasional squawk as the other one interprets. This alternating with the other rooker, giving you just a quick rundown. The classes you guys have to get through are international law, ethics, and communications privacy.
Oh my god, you took this straight out of the engineering curriculum, didn't you?
International law. I know a little bit about international law.
At this point, Crowquill just goes, fuck it, I'm following Jane. It's just like,
I don't want to be...
I don't know anything about any of these things, except for maybe a little bit of the international law.
I don't want to be held responsible for anything Jane's been up to.
How to avoid it.
How to avoid such law.
All right, so you guys are sitting down and getting ready for like a legal run through, and Iron Quill comes in for part of this lecture. You can see that the other group is just waiting in the other room, as this is going to go like just get done quickly. You're all passed a packet, and then you're told to read it for a moment while the teachers go off into another room.
Okay, I'll just start reading it out loud.
As you're going through it, it's a lot of jargon to do with like the exact status and structure of what the Rookery is. You guys are like an NGO, basically. You're sovereign, and you are not under any specific government operation. You specifically are like permitted to operate by the governments as a separate entity. That being said, though, there's a few concerning bits of legislation that are like, oh, what do you mean we don't have military protection unless specifically negotiated, that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. As you get to the end, like both of the instructors come back, and like Iron Quill kind of looks nervous as like Corvo is in the middle of the front of the class waiting to give you guys a bit of a debrief. Iron Quill kind of like sits there, collects the or like leaves, tells you guys like, make sure to pack those packets for later in case you need them, and goes,
oh, yeah.
Okay, and last but not least, for international law, political debrief, and starts to interpret for Corvo. The current status of the Rookers is this: you are being allowed to peaceably operate throughout most of the mainland and the freed lands. Currently, as far as you guys know, the line between the Empire and Soth is compromised somewhere in the chain, and it's being actively investigated. The Empire is attempting to create its own sovereign service to compete with the Rookeries, which is going to be government operated, which the Rookeries are trying to oppose. And currently, throughout a small portion of the Empire and some other mainland nations, but predominantly like the 3 human nations and like kind of where you guys started, there is a private company that's a census provider that's basically just buying people's personal information and selling it. You guys, for all intents and purposes, are waging a cold war against the Empire, a spy war in regards to like keeping Soth safe, and a literal war against a private company that's trying to take over in the human nation.
I raise my hand.
Yes?
So, if hypothetically, if somebody set off the, I don't know, a 75-pound powder bomb and obliterated 6 Imperial ships, can I write that powder off as like a business expense?
Crowquill's just like doing the
there's for this, because you're 12 and this is in like 3 different classes. There's one like rando who is not part of your group, who just kind of like is sitting next to you and kind of goes, at the front of the class, Corvo gives like a bit of a jab and frantically starts like writing something down on a piece of paper. Meanwhile, like distracting in the front, primarily the one student who looks confused, Iron Quill, goes, "Oh yes, the most recent Soth Bay attacks. Yeah, we had nothing to do with those."
Right. No, that was all us.
Any remaining questions?
No more questions.
Nope. We're good. We're good.
We're good, I say, jabbing Sun in the side.
We're good. We're good.
So you're all kind of like ushered back out into the general area as they go like to take care of the rest of the students. As this happens, there's a bump, Sun, you can feel it, and a piece of paper is put into your pocket by the one instructor.
What does it say?
Yeah, I'm going to take that puppy out and read it.
You quietly unfurl it, and you can see, like, hastily scrawled with a pen, it just says, "Shut the fuck up, you goddamn narc," and it's underlined, like, 3 times.
That's not very nice. I was just asking a question.
I mean,
A
we were
little
on
while
vacation,
later, the other
so that's... It
the
couldn't
other
have been
groups
us.
come
We
back.
were relaxing.
We were on vacation.
Anyhow, and the instructors are ahead of you. They go ethics and communications, and both the teachers look Sun dead in the eyes. Go privacy,
Mhm.
as well as international law, and a few other people from the other classes like group up for the international law one. Which one are you guys going to?
Privacy. I'm gonna be like, "Oh, we should go. We should look at the privacy one. Privacy.
Oh. All
I
right.
think he needs a little bit more of communication, but I guess we'll tackle that after the privacy.
My communication is great. My question was clear, concise.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Private.
So you guys are basically, while the other group goes through you guys are given kind of just like a guided set of cases to read through and like interpret with like a reading sheet. Basically, it's the same thing with the other room. They're going back to like make sure that people are picking up on the international law stuff. There's a set of cases that are like, the first couple are lighthearted things like celebrities being outed for things due to like their mail being rifled through. There's like a case of like someone being caught wearing like 3 disguises on top of each other in a rookery, trying to impersonate 3 people in one day to steal their mail. And then there's one that just like really darkly tone shifts into like an abuser tracking down and murdering 6 victims kind of thing. You're kind of just sitting there going, ooh, and you put down the last one and you pick up the reading sheet, and the first question is like, what are the dangers of compromised information security?
Loss of privacy.
Loss of life.
You sit there and you fill out a couple of just kind of petty questions, being like, okay, so you get that you can't let people read mail, right? And then like you finish it out. Last but not least,
the example of the person wearing the same costume, like to impersonate 3 separate people in a rookery, I'm just like, yeah, I remember when Bori did that.
Sounds like something he would do.
Yeah, you notice that there's a small portion. It's just like a footnote, almost like not a literal footnote, but just like, you know, when there's like a paragraph that's like 2 sentences long. It's like additional attempts included like daughters, and then in parentheses it's like Matilda and Crayola, both like attempting to retrieve mail for their alleged parent.
Yeah,
Matilda,
that was not a fun day.
You make your way back to the middle of the group. There's another like get together, split off, and you're back in the ethics course. There, like it's one of those things where they're like, you get most of the way through going, okay, these are obvious, like about why it's wrong to read people's mail, about why people are allowed to have privacy, about like, you know, some basic stuff. And then there's like some really fucked up stuff about like what happens if you see someone's like threatening murder letter. What happens if you see someone like creating mass spam? What are your responses to those 2 questions, or one or the other?
I'm gonna say I ignore both of it because it's none of my business.
Sun comes in with the best answer, which is I do what feels right at the time.
Crowquill, who I'm assuming is not like writing this down, I'm assuming is like speaking to someone at this point, probably the instructor. Literally says, well, for the murderer, I follow him back to his place and then report him to the police. And then, for someone making the mass spam, I refuse to take his letters because I'm not dealing with that much spam.
You know what?
Right.
Fair.
As you're ushered out, Crowquill, you in particular are kind of pulled aside by one of them who just kind of like mumbles, "Hey, Maybe don't put Sun on direct people duty.
He usually never is.
Good. He's useful for the complicated parts, just not the people parts.
He's useful for when we're on vacation. And then I give a nod and walk away.
But so you wouldn't see it happen because it's underneath a mask, but like the one Rooker looks a little bit confused and the other one just has a wide smile. You guys have another hour or so for break. It's getting close to dinner time, but like it's kind of the weird pre-dinner, and then you guys are going to be in these classes like during dinner.
Oh, well, that's cool.
Croco's just like, there's no more birds. Can we go back to learning the bird stuff?
I don't know. I learned a lot about international law.
Or how about how the fucking seal crates work? How about that? Because I want to do that. We could do that instead, and then like not deal with ethics.
The steel crates. What are you talking about?
The seal on the crates, you know, so that people can't just open them in transit.
Right. I didn't know you were so passionate about seals.
Well, it's part of my craft. The same way you were judging people's guns earlier.
Hang on. The seal isn't the animal, you know that, right?
Google's just like, the magic shit that I do.
Right, the animals, yeah, I know.
No, not the I do more than just animal magic shit.
Sometimes you make people bleed.
I can also make Otto's guns light on fire.
Yeah, I don't super see the connection here.
If I wanted to, and I had enough time, I could probably lock Otto's entire systems.
This feels like
geologists.
This feels like geologists, mathematicians, and computer people all fighting over what a matrix means.
Yeah.
The computer scientist is just like, well, I don't want to fucking deal with it, so it's whatever I want it to be.
This matrix is entry 1, in, entry 2, your, entry 3, ass. Send. Alright, so you guys come back for the last of these trainings after puttering around, walking up and down the port. It looks like the repairs are almost done. They've As far as you can tell, they've gone below decks a little bit, but mostly they've installed something extra on your sails.
Hey,
No,
go ahead.
No, go.
I was gonna say, if I'm close enough to talk to Otto, I'm gonna ask Otto, hey, did they tell you what they were doing?
Otto kind of like looks at them, looks at you, and goes, "They had clearance. I don't know."
Well, thanks for not shooting them. That would have been somehow even worse than what I did.
Otto gives you kind of like a slight tilt.
He was an idiot as usual.
Well, I wouldn't say that. I just had a question, but apparently it wasn't a good one, and they didn't like me asking it.
There are no stupid questions. Except what
That's why I'm
Except for Sun's questions.
Otto kind of like gives a shrug with his like shields and goes, "That's why I'm glad I'm a robot. I say something sociopathic, they just go, ha ha, robot. It's great."
Robot, yeah.
So you guys make your way back in for the last bit of the training. This one's just in 2 sessions. Right now, Corvo and Rooker Mariner, the one with the rope thing, are both present for this last one. You're going to be taught about the robe and the mask and the art of disguise.
That Crocal's just like, finally.
You already? Well, Croquill, you're already there, I suppose.
All right, let's do it.
All right.
Which one?
The art of disguise.
Art of disguise first.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, you guys make your way in where, like beforehand, like these guys kind of have you on either side of the room, and they're giving you like kind of the rundown bit by bit. As you make your way into the first room, like they just kind of give you a quick like, all right, we have to go and get you your disguise kits. Be back in a bit. They just leave you in the room. There's 6 of you here. Rooker is with you. Same with Bilgy. They're expecting to shoo in through this. And then there's one rando.
Now, do you think that they're going to do something like they're going to be in disguise, and then they come in, and we have to guess which one of us is actually them in disguise?
Rooker kind of shrugs and goes, maybe the real disguise was the friends you made along the way.
Is there a way, Will, that I can cast a ritual quickly to have an illusion of someone else be sitting where I am sitting?
It's not the sort of thing you could do quickly, per se.
Okay, then I won't. If I know that it's not something I'm going to be able to do quickly, then it's not something I'm going to try.
Well, if you put on my shirt, maybe, and I put on your cloak, maybe we can swap clothes
You're not
and do a little.
touching my clothes. You're going to get gunpowder all over them.
I already have, and it just sort of emanates off me like a mist.
There's a janitor that walks in.
Are you the instructor?
Nope, janitor. Sorry, I'll just be a moment. You don't need to move. I'm just supposed to do the alleys here. The cabinets.
Uh-huh.
And the guy sits there and...
Crockwell, I think that's the instructor.
Can I roll understand on this janitor?
Go for it.
Okay.
Popo!
That is a 14.
All right. This guy might actually just be a janitor.
I mean,
a little while later, while the
cleaning up your
janitor is
gunpowder,
still
so.
while the janitor is still in there, the instructors come back in their robes and they go, so, and they point at the janitor and go, who's that?
Oh, that's you. Or what? One of you.
It's the janitor.
That's you.
Well, no, I mean one of you. You know, like one of the instructors.
The instructors both go and like take off their masks and cloaks. The one with the hook like has to take a moment to get it over the hook, but is like a heavily scarred-looking dwarf-born, like an old man. The other one is like a draconian with kind of a faint purplish hue to the scales, a bit younger looking. Who are we?
I don't know, Crockwell, you take this one. I'm kind of making a fool of myself.
Can I roll understand again to state who they are?
Go for it.
In the way that they clearly are wanting me to do. That is a 17.
All right, 17. You give him a look and you're like, people? And the one goes, good. We're people. Chander's people. You're people. When you put on the cloak, you become the rooker. Disguise will be very important in your trade. For various purposes, infiltration, getting past suspicious guards and dockside harassers, that kind of thing. But mostly, disguise is about minimalism. It's about what you don't need to wear. He gives like a nod. And then, Corvo, like, signs something, and the guy doesn't notice. Corvo kind of, like, begrudgingly looks side to side, and then, like, grabs, like, a piece of chalk, and then on the board, while at the same time, Mariner's still there, like, yeah, it's about what you don't put on. It's about minimalism. Corvo's just there, and he just writes research on the board, underlines it 3 times. with the last like clack of the chalk, like the guy turns around and goes, "Oh yeah, and make sure to research places before you go there. And that's the art of disguise. Any questions?"
Who was the janitor?
Bertram Milton.
But doesn't that violate your policy of not giving away people's private information?
Does it? Do you know who that is?
I don't know. I don't know. It was my first day. I just, I got schooled. You're right. Damn.
It's like the bit where they unmask Peter, like they unmask Spider-Man, and they don't know who he is, so they're like, "Oh shit,
he's some kid."
He's some kid, and Tobey Maguire's like 30.
Tobey Maguire is 30 with back problems and like.
Older than my son.
Well,
Tobey Maguire says pizza time with the smile of someone who can't have pizza time every day. Tobey Maguire says pizza time like someone who goes, "Pizza time, because if I eat these every day, that's depression."
It is time that I eat pizza now.
Tobey Maguire did say pizza time, and I'm not sure why.
You guys kind of awkwardly shuffle into the last bit with the robe and the mask. You're given a quick description of the fundamental function of the robe and the mask. As long as you are wearing the disguise, more or less, you are a rooker. You are serving in capacity with the rookery. Your ships have been outfitted to basically change into rookery regalia if you're acting on their business.
Oh.
You're told in particular, though, that there's two properties that these things have. The robes themselves are very simple but potent anti-magic. The mask, however, is basically a magic ID blocker. It fundamentally changes how you're targeted by magic.
That sounds useful.
Crocwell's very interested in that. How much do I understand about that?
So you follow it for a decent bit. They're talking about the sewn inlay, which is how you've done a lot of your work personally. That's in the robes themselves for the anti-magic. They discuss I love the visible signs of pub harassment going on screen right now.
Mother!
The thing that's notable about the rookery masks is that there's more or less a sustained magical meta entity known as the rooker that the masks redirect scrying and magic to. It's like a computer networking thing, but for woo woo. You eventually kind of trudge out, and they have a very short ceremony where they have everybody who's in the rookery at the time kind of in one big clump in the back. And then one by one, they call you up, they give you your robes, and they send you to kind of meld with the crowd. The first one they call is Bilgy, who's robed up, and then a rando. Which of you three is called first?
Definitely not Sun, because Sun is kind of trying to figure out how to fit it over his horns without it being obvious that he has horns.
Jane, maybe.
All right, so Jane, you make your way up. They pass you the robes. Just like the people who have come before you, you just kind of throw them on. They're roomy, and it's only now that you notice that there's an overlap in the fabric, so you couldn't necessarily see it, but you can reach through the robe into your pockets and things.
Crowquill, do my horns look big in this? No. Right.
Crowquill's gonna go up and get her robes next, and she turns back and goes, "Probably."
So you throw the robe on. It very easily flows over and behind your tail. You're not the only person who has a tail, so this thing's built to accommodate it. They pass you the mask, and you quickly kind of shrug it on. As you do so, you feel a weird shifting to the left magically, and then things center. like plugging something into the USB and having it go doo-doo. You kind of go, okay, and you shuffle into the crowd. Jane and Croquill, you guys are surrounded by masked, cloaked figures, all like a bit taller, smaller, fatter, shorter, burlier, lankier, kind of interspersed.
Croquill turns to who she thinks is Jane and just goes, well, this isn't the first cult I've joined.
Oh yeah, Croquill? What was the first?
And then it's just like, oh crap. Well, there was one in like Redwine a while back. They gave me like a promo for stuff. They sheltered me for a little bit, and then like got a little bit too weird, so I ran away from that too.
Oh, that's bad times. Son, ahead of you, you can see one of the people ahead of you, a draconian, like puts on the robes, and you can see the stitching's been altered so they kind of like foof over the horns in the back of the head. The mask itself is also a bit longer to accommodate a bit of extra snout.
Wonder where he got that done.
They call you up.
Yep, I'm coming. Putting it on. Oof.
All right, you put the robe over, and immediately you notice that the hood is like weirdly wide. It goes like around your horns.
Ah.
As they pass you the mask, it also has like a weird compound strap. You loop it around the horn and the ear, and then it kind of attaches bottom and top instead of just being like a loopy like that. And you go to join the group. After a little while, you're all kind of in one big mob. And at that point, like, they give you a quick guff being like, okay, you're rookers. So, they just kind of clap and go, business. And they start, like, sliding, like, setting routes aside. They actually go to a few at, like, the established workers first. They call, like, names of ships and they send them off with instructions. You guys need to basically do 3 test routes that are going to be supervised by instructors. In game, you guys are just allotted these. You don't get a choice, you're just told. But out of game, I want you guys to like pick. There are 3 routes you guys are going to do with an instructor before you're full-on mailbirds. One of them is the Dragon Isles route with Ironquill. That one's going to be like out into the boonies, just talking to like individual sparse homesteads out kind of in the wilderness. One of them is the southern boat route with Mariner, which is just a lot of sailing. The last one is East Landing with Corvo.
Please no route with Mariner.
No, you don't like him?
I feel like Croquill puts on his voice when she like is trying to deceive people, and she hates that someone actually has that voice.
Fair enough.
Yeah, like this guy talks a lot about the beauty and splendor of life's creatures, and he genuinely means it a little, and it's shitty because it's like he's stealing your grift.
Yeah. Right? It's just like, when I'm trying to be wispy and mysterious, I do this, but like, fuck this guy. So I'm down for either of the other ones.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like, whatever.
That rules him out. So which 2 are left then, if we rule him out?
East Landing with Corvo and the Dragon Isles with Ironquill.
Well, let's go with Corvo. Love that dude.
Yeah. Though we don't personally know that dude.
No.
All right. You guys are allotted to the instructor that uses sign language. Does anybody in your boat speak sign language at all?
I definitely don't.
Do mouse folk have their own sign language? Okay, then no, I don't.
You know mouse folk sign language, though?
That would make sense for me, too. Where I spent most of my life.
Here's hoping one of the NPCs does. Because you guys don't know how you're going to talk to your instructor. that being said, you guys are set to depart tomorrow morning, a little bit after dawn. In particular, you don't actually have to pick up any cargo. You're being sent just on a run with an empty hold.
Okay.
You guys have an evening to kill still, though. By now, it's like a little past dinner.
I'm looking forward to Corvo writing something and passing it to Sun, and Sun wildly misinterpreting.
Yeah. Well, let me see here. I believe I have 2 gold that I just earned.
Yeah, we have 10 gold of sugar in our hold. At least that's what I have invested in our sugar.
I have 5 gold.
Would this actually be a good area to hawk it? Because it's pretty far south, so they might have their own sort of supplies, but it's an island, so you never know.
It's kind of middling. It's not the worst place. Like, this would be a good place to go, let's just get rid of this. Whereas, like, East Landing would be where it goes for the best price.
And we're heading to East Landing, aren't we?
Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
Definitely, yeah.
We're gonna get chased out of East Landing, too, and we won't be able to sell it, but, you know...
We don't get chased out of that many places. I suppose there was the Color Corps.
In fairness, we're gonna chase them out.
True. But yeah, other than that, I mean, we've had...
Where do you guys go? Are you just kind of like walking up and down the port? Are you heading to the bent anchor? Are you going to your ship? What's the...
Well, we're going to spend a lot of time on a ship in the next few days.
Yeah, what time is it?
It's like 8-ish.
I mean, we might be able to catch the late show of Smashamania.
The late show?
Like the latter bits of it. We might be able to catch the latter bits of Smashamania. That's all I'm saying. I don't want to see what Waluigi does.
I didn't know there was a. I thought that was it. It was just that one.
No. That was Road to Smashamania. See, then they got to do Smashamania, and then
I don't know.
Goes into a rant about it.
I think the wrestlers
starts tonight.
Well, usually they got pretty quick turnarounds on these events.
Oh.
So as you guys are about to head back into the bent anchor, just kind of docked outside where your boat is, you see that Otto's gone.
Oh, hey, hang on. Hey, hold the fucking phone. I'm running to the ship as soon as I notice this.
Wait, what's going on? Son.
All right, Son, odds or evens?
Evens! Let me get my dice out here. Rolling and evens at the speed of 4.
4. You're about to go up the gangplank going, Otto! And you see that there's a small embossing by the Bilgewater's nameplate. And instead of SS Bilgewater, it says SS Pranked Ya.
Okay. That doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't particularly like this. Croquill, you playing some sort of Jane? You playing a prank?
Is this our ship?
Will...
There's like a small swiveling noise, and you can see at the foredecks, Otto like goes shoop and flips up from underneath the deck and goes, "Oh, I thought there was going to be a better punchline than that."
Otto, you scared me! And I run over and I give him a hug best I can.
You kind of like cram into his servos with like the shielding kind of like over the cannon a little bit, and he's like, "Oh, jeez."
I know that you're a robot and that you don't love me like a true child would, but I love you like a child, Otto. Don't do that to me.
Wait, you thought Otto was missing? I mean, he was right there the entire time.
Croquill, you're on the gangplank when you say this, and you go, "He was right there the entire time." And as Sun turns around, you see the plank like flip, and Otto goes back under.
Well, you don't see it.
Well, that sound is that Otto now can flip up and down on the deck. But I mean, all right. Well,
Crocodle's just like, isn't that Tiana, or is that Bilgy's room?
There's another as you can see Otto like come back up from below decks and goes, "Nope, munitions room. We get to hang out all day."
Oh, this is the best day ever. I'm going to teach you so much about building bombs and.
Sun's mood shifts immediately.
Well, I'm just glad that I don't have to kill any of you. That kind of gave me a heart attack.
You can hear a quiet like clink 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 noise as like the plate where like the SS pranked you was kind of like recesses, goes through a couple of other joke names and comes back to the SS Bilgewater and goes like that. Bilge kind of like narrows his eyes and goes, "You didn't say they were going to do that."
Wait, what?
No, it was for the quick. And he goes over to like the bottom of where the sails are, and you can see that like all the other ropes and all that are there, but there's an obvious spot where there's supposed to be a lever, but there's no actual lever there. There's just like an anchor point.
Oh, Otto, they gave you control of the whole ship. That's amazing.
What? No? Are you kidding? I'd blow this port to smithereens. Ah, it's the things thing.
The things thing?
There's a rumbling, and the Bilgewater kind of gives you like a...
Oh, she prefers the term apparatus.
Kennedy's like starstruck, and he like leaps down the fucking trapdoor. You can hear him muffled underneath, like going down into like the apparatus room going, "You're self-improving! You're self-improving!"
I'd be more concerned that he would be going down there being like, "What did they touch? What did they break?" The apparatus is self-improving. And at that, Croco's just like, "And we're not worried about the apparatus blowing up the whole port?"
No. Well, I'm sure if the apparatus decided to blow up the whole port, it would have a very good reason to do so.
And Otto wouldn't?
No, I mean, Otto, he generally waits for a good reason to try and end a life, like if someone tried to steal him or remove a crucial part of his aiming mechanism or, stuff like that.
Yeah, the SAS is a module. I am purely axiomatic. I will kill you if someone reprograms me. Otto kind of like chuckles to himself.
Yeah, no, you would shoot me deader than a doorknob.
And I would do it well, and you couldn't draw on me because you're a good builder. And he gives you kind of like a little shield bump.
Yeah, no, my mortal flesh is nothing compared to your indestructible frame.
And he like laughs like he's just like killing the joke, stomping into the ground. Ha ha, QQ, and he like cycles his cannons a little.
Yeah.
Fleshy meat.
Croquill has been standing there the entire time just being like, "We're not concerned about this," like genuinely going through the emotions of like, we're not, why aren't we should be concerned about this.
Well, I mean,
because I can override it with my mind.
Well, your knife could end your life if someone else reprogrammed it with a hand, It's not really all that different.
Someone would have to take it off me first.
And that's how I feel about Otto.
But I already took it off you.
Yeah.
Turns out you're pretty easy to pickpocket.
I don't really like sort of the direction this conversation is going.
If you want, I can teach you my tricks for anti-pickpocketing.
So as you guys clamber down the trapdoor back into the hold, continue your conversation, you can see that one of the bunks, the one, Croquill, were you a lower or upper bunk?
Lower.
Okay, so who's the unlucky one? Who's an upper over the new thing?
I think Jane was.
So underneath like Jane's bunk on one side, you see that like in the locker area, there's a little curtain over all of them, but you can hear the kind of like kerfuffling and confusion of a couple of birds that are inside. Just next to that, where one of the bunks were, there's like a little desk, a filing cabinet, a bunch of stationery, and a little chair.
Crocodile is way happier now that she has more bird friends.
Wait.
You give a little peek underneath the curtain. Sure enough, there's like 4 different cages, each of which is like big enough to have a pigeon and then 4 guard crows.
So
Crocodile closes it and like looks at Warble and is just like, "Aren't you glad you have your own cage? All to yourself."
Warble's like kind of misinterprets or interprets. You're vaguely unsure. Warbles hears cage and kind of like goes towards the cage.
Well, at least he's following his training. I give him his nightly food.
He follows it into the cage and you kind of clink it behind and curtain it up.
I'm actually flabbergasted to learn that Crowquill has a cage for Warbles.
It was installed when we had the bunks installed. There was a little recess in the bunks.
Yeah, I knew he had his little recess. I didn't realize that you could like enclose him there.
Oh yeah.
I didn't think you had it in you.
I mostly just put the curtain across, but like yeah. I let him out every morning.
Huh. You know, that explains why there's less bird shit than I would expect.
Well, on that note, I suppose we should give this a bit of a close for tonight. We were on a nice kind of low calm thing, midpoint, so we can start like tomorrow in game when you guys start the route again next week.
Cool.
It's been fine hanging out. You guys can check us out at twitch.tv/Croden_live. We are at youtube.com/Mr. Croden. Where you can watch the VODs a little while after they're posted. And the like preliminary rules, the most recent version that I've got completed, is at bloodwine.fandom.com if you want to play them. I know we have horrific plans for stream coming up, but Ken, what's coming up?
On Saturday, Will is torturing me some more with Bionicle Mountain Nui 2.
Yeah, it's last week's horror stream, but sequel.
Part 2.
So,
as we all know, sequels are improvements.
Yeah, sequels are definitely improvements. And on Monday,
Good time.
on
Monday,
I'm finally going to be fixing my marriage with Cam in
nice.
2. That game has gone on way longer than we thought it would. I thought it was going to be 1 stream, and then we thought it was going to be 2 streams. Boy. Yeah,
like it's a beefin'.
Yeah, if you like do the things, like if you go out of your way to be like, I'm going to explore this path, there is way more content than I would expect in that game.
Yeah. I mean, it does seem to be something very polished.
It is a incredibly polished game with, like, so much attention to detail. Just very small things they bothered to go and do and add in just for the sake of it. Like, we're exploring this attic the other day, like, on the last stream, and we find, like, a fucking carousel that we can just ride for no reason. And they programmed that in. Like, you just hop on a little toy carousel that's in a corner of a room and just go.
And on that note, I think we just go.
Yeah.
Thanks for having it. Have a good night.
Bye.
Yeah.